Hi, I'm James Van Osdell. This right here, this is Car Con Carne. We're not in the car. Sometimes I do things remotely, like tonight. Car Con Carne, episode number, oh my God, 720. Scroll. 727. 727. It's a palindrome. Coming up on Car Con Carne, the people behind Star Union Spirits. We're going to do that just before Rum Fest, which is happening in Logan Square this weekend. Also, next week, I'll be visiting Logan Square to hang out at Duplex. We'll talk about that awesome restaurant concept. And in the next couple of weeks or so, it'll be the long-awaited return of a Car Con Carne favorite. The person behind the fantastic Car Con Carne theme song, he's a smoking pope, he's a solo artist. Josh Caterer will be back on the show. And if you missed it yesterday, I'm recording this on Monday the 25th, had an amazing conversation with Liv Warfield. Liv Warfield, who you may know from New Power Generation, Prince's backing band. She's a fantastic solo artist. She joined me for dinner and conversation outside Haymarket in the West Loop. That's live on all the platforms. I really enjoyed talking to her. She's just incredible. And her voice is just a force of nature. I think when I introduced her, I said that her voice could change the course of mighty rivers. Not unlike Superman. She's awesome. But tonight, I get to welcome someone, a friend who's been on the show a couple times, who is just an incredible songwriter. Joining me, I'm pulling him up from the Zoom green room. It is David McMillin of the band Fort Frances. And look what I brought for show and tell, Fort Frances Records.
Hey man, I'm going to have a new one to add to your collection.
How soon?
Based on the record's done, but actually putting it on a vinyl record, it seems like it's going to be a while, but I guarantee it'll be worth the wait.
Would that be the supply chain issue we hear so much about?
Yeah.
It is no joke for records.
It's crazy. Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know what ours will be yet. I'm like talking to someone who works with a plant, but I certainly think the end of the year, a lot of the records that I've wanted to buy, I just hit checkout on this band Typhoon, their album. I love that band. They're really good. And I think it said shipping in sometime in 2023. That was just all it said.
See, there's part of me that kind of likes this. Like during the pandemic, I ordered a ton of records. That was my connection with the outside world. Every now and then a record would show up at my door. I'm like, oh, look, something from the outside world. This is exciting. That's kind of the way I feel about ordering records now, because nothing's coming on any sort of reasonable timetable. 6 months, 12 months, 18 months down the road, I'm going to be really excited when they start showing up at my door. Like I'll have forgotten that I ordered them. It'll be a nice treat.
And the thing that doesn't bother me either is I don't know. I feel like we all get too much instantly. Everything's delivered via drone in 5 minutes. I actually think that things that you agree, you actually say that's fine, I'll wait for them, are kind of special.
I agree with that. It is a very on-demand, a la carte culture. I saw complaints about Moon Knight, the Disney Plus Marvel Cinematic Universe show, which I have my own storytelling issues with. But one of the complaints was they didn't release all the episodes at once. Now, when you see TV shows show up on HBO or Netflix or Disney Plus, if it's not something you can immediately binge, people are outraged. I can't believe they're doing this episodically on a weekly basis, TV did. But that's the culture. That's exactly what you're talking about. Everyone has to have everything right now.
Man, it's such a weird thing. I mean, if you think about it that way, that, if you translate that to the way the rest of the things that we do for fun or entertainment, that would be if every time you and I went to a restaurant, we were you don't have a buffet, I'm out of here. I'm only here if I can have everything as much as I want until I'm all right, I'll just lie down on the couch. That I actually like the episodic stuff. I don't know that show. I don't know Moon Knight, but I don't know what that is. But I do like stuff that I have to wait for.
Better Call Saul, another example. You got to wait weekly for that.
Yeah.
In fact, we're recording this on a Monday, and that's what I'm going to do when I'm done editing this, is I'm going to watch the new episode of Better Call Saul.
Nice. Yeah. See, and you got something to look forward to.
Speaking of buffets, when was the last time you had a buffet at a restaurant?
I was way ahead of the germaphobe train. So I did not have like I was always skeptical of things that people could just go up and sneeze on and touch. So it had been a while for me for a buffet, even pre all of this COVID stuff. That's a really good question. Maybe a pizza buffet, like circa high school or college. So I mean, quite a while ago.
But for people who are just listening to the podcast, which I encourage you to do on all platforms, Spotify, Apple, etc., David McMillin of Fort Frances looks like the cool philosophy professor you had in college.
I wish I could have that as a job, actually. That'd be a good one.
You got the blazer, you got the blue button down, you got bottles of bourbon over your right shoulder, maybe some old magazines or books.
Yeah, I got records too, and some books. Yeah, like, let's see, I just read this. What is the what? Do you read David Eggers?
You're not the first person to ask me, and I never have.
You dig it. I mean, this is just one of his many books, but I would say he's probably my favorite writer.
I love that. And again, you look like a philosophy professor. I wouldn't be surprised if you pulled out like Sartre or Descartes or something.
Yeah. No, I'm not that. I can't. I'm not that deep. Yeah, I need to be if I'm going to apply for tenure as my philosophy professor
that's
job.
Exactly right. So Fort Frances, yes, you said there's an album ready to go, and at some point when it'll be able to get pressed, it'll get pressed. But we've heard from this new batch of songs, If You Look Hard Enough, a song that is self-described by you as the most optimistic Fort Frances song we've ever heard. Don't be sad, don't be scared, you're just lost and unprepared. Open your eyes, there's a heaven everywhere if you look hard enough. David, this is inspirational, it's positive. Coming out of the past couple of years, which sucked balls for musicians, where did this spirit come from?
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more on the sucking balls element for anyone in anything that relied on bringing people together in terms of their income, and not even just those, but many people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that song in particular, certainly the most optimistic song I've ever written. The main thrust of it, well, I guess I'd say this: did you ever get COVID?
Never did.
Never
See,
did.
Now you jinxed it. Now
No, man. Honestly, I don't think you're too good of a guy. I think the universe has it so that shit will just stay away from you. I am not. I'm a philosophy professor, and I'm a dark human being. So I got it the end of November in 2020. It sucked. I was like pretty down for the count for like a full week. But obviously I'm okay. But it was pretty rough. And I started, and I had been writing songs before that. And again, November also important in the electoral cycle of the United States of America. Mm-hmm. I like through the summer of 2020, just like because we started a record before that, and they were all kind of like it was almost like a continuation of the Front Page of the Modern Age, our record from 2019, but maybe even more despondent in terms of wondering like where the world would go, but. Honestly, I think it was a really good reminder between getting COVID, the election not completely shitting the bed, and feeling like maybe the world.
We call that Amber Herding now.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I started writing I'd say it was almost like the songwriting kind of did a 180 at the end of 2020 and into the beginning of 2021. And the songs were, they were certainly the most optimistic stuff I've ever written. I'll send you the whole album. And then in May of 2021, my wife and I found out we were having a kid. And so that was like, you can either look at it in one respect of like, oh my God, what are we bringing this human into? When you watch the news, or you can look at it in a very rewarding perspective, which is what I certainly did, and just how awesome it is to have a new, obviously a new addition to the family, but just a new challenge that is something I have never. Our son is sleeping in the room behind these bottles of bourbon, and he'll turn 5 months next week. He came early,
Well, first,
like way early.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah,
huge.
thanks, man. Thank
And
you.
I get it. It's funny. I'm a few years older than you, David. But my first
You don't look
child.
it.
Thank you. Well, it's the gray. Come on. My first child was born in December of 2001. So
Oh man.
as of 9/11, I'm like, oh my God, what am I bringing this kid into? I mean, similar thoughts, like as as we're rolling out of the pandemic or around in the pandemic, same thing. Like, how do I even approach this? But you kind of choose which direction to go in emotionally, and I think
Yeah.
we both netted out in the same place.
Yeah, and it's a good place to be in, like like I'm 37. Like, there you like having a kid is such a good reminder that like life actually can be really awesome, because all they do, like once they start to get personalities that smile, and like they still cry and scream and don't sleep well, but everything feels, there's just a lot of there's just like everything is possible kind of thing. And if you look at it that way and you think of it as good things being possible, man, it really gives you a nice kick in the ass to smile a lot. So that's what I've been doing. Been smiling a lot.
Oh, that's a
for
great
guy that
perspective.
honestly for like a decade wrote like mostly sad songs about like the end of the world. Like I've been writing about the end of the world for like a long time, well before the pandemic. I just thought, so it's kind of funny to talk about how how optimistic I am. But I don't know, man. It's a really good, like, life affirming and kind of just reshaping the way you think about things.
I love that. And you did an acoustic version of the.
Yeah.
Is that kind of your thing? Like multiple versions? You did that with Fantasy of Youth.
I think so. I mean, I like it. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not the first songwriter by any means who has said, like, a song should be able to stand on its own, without lots of production happening. But like, I really like those. I like those alternate takes that like maybe let the lyrics sit a little more, and also just like they just feel different. So I've recorded unplugged things for most of the stuff on this new album. It's just, I don't know. I think I've gotten really into production type stuff over the last 5 years or whatever. But it should still be able to stand on its own on like a piano or a guitar. And if it can do that, I think it's worth adding to the catalog of the massive mountain of music that is being released today.
Thinking back about vinyl, looking at this approach from a vinyl perspective, you've got your A side, the band production.
Yep.
The B side is the piano version, which would be cool.
Yeah.
I'd buy that 7-inch tomorrow.
Yep. Well, thank you. It won't be ready for at least 2 years, but I'll let you know.
And the album you referenced, or that we are referencing, will be called "Look at What Tomorrow Brought Us."
Yep. Yeah.
And are we looking at 10 songs, 12 songs?
It's 10, although it's funny, like, so yeah, the album's definitely done. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'll send it to you when we get off this Zoom call. I mean, it's not mastered, but it's done. But it's funny because the other, which we might have talked about this, one silver lining is like we recorded a lot. Like I'm still recording. I was just at we've been doing it at Shirk Studios. I don't know if you know that. It's in Ukrainian Village. Steven Shirk is he's awesome. It's a really cool spot. So we've been going there at least once a month, and more when we can. So the album's done, but I would say the next album is like kind of halfway done too. Because like with nothing else to do, it was nice to just write a bunch of music and to just have lots of space to go record it. So that one's done, and the next one hopefully won't be too far after that.
Well, what's amazing to me when I started to think about it, you've been making music under the Fort Frances umbrella for over 10 years now.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Isn't that awesome to think about?
It actually, yeah. On one hand, it feels like feels strange, like where did the time go kind of thing. But on the other, it's really rewarding because like I feel like I actually feel proud of everything we've ever released, which overall, like that's good. I feel like I did the singer-songwriter thing before the Fort Frances stuff, and some of that stuff I would say I'm not. It was like it reminded me of the first band I was ever in was called Trial and Error. Like when I was like super young, there were a lot of errors in the solo stuff too. So the Fort Frances stuff I'm really proud of because I don't feel like there's anything to be like ashamed of. Which is kind of all, I don't know, it's kind of all you want to do, when you make music.
So with all these new songs ready to go and kind of bubbling up, things that tomorrow might bring us, so to speak, like what I did there. Will we be able to see you play? Do you have anything coming up?
Definitely will. We don't have, it's funny, like, we definitely will. It'll probably be in the fall, like with having a new, so our son, his name is Walter, he came 2 months early. So everything was kind of like, everything was like crazy for a while. And so now we're just getting back into the swing of feeling like we can book shows. And it's crazy because there's so many bands touring that even trying to play the shows we want to play, we can't really do that this summer. It's hard for me to tour for a little bit, but when we do, it's also just there's just a backlog of shows.
Right. So it actually stuff, so. The timing in a weird way was serendipitous with the birth of your son. Like, okay, we can't do anything anyway because of the touring situation and all that. So great, we'll cool our heels and then kick some ass in the fall.
Yeah, so we will. It'll probably. I would guess it'll probably be in starting in September. But I'm really psyched about it. I can't wait to play this stuff live. It's funny to like make this much stuff and have never played it for anyone.
Sure.
We've never done that. Normally we like try out stuff, just kind of kick it around and see if anything's good, like in front of people. And we haven't, obviously with this stuff, but so there's like there's more pent up energy than I've ever had with this stuff, which is great.
And I get the whole inability to go out while the child is that young. There's that guilt implied and actually direct, like, oh, good, you're going to go play for a couple hours. I'll just be here. That's fine. You go. You go off with your friends and play your little songs. That's great. I'll just take care of the infant.
Yeah. So it'll be good to give a little more time between that. Yeah. We
were talking about restaurants and buffets. You and I need to dine soon. We're overdue.
Man, I would love to. Yeah, anytime and anywhere. Where you were like where if you had to pick a spot right now, you would say that's my favorite restaurant. Where would it be?
See, here's the thing. I would be totally comfortable going to Elmwood Park and going for a beef sausage combo at Johnny's.
Let's do that.
Just stand outside or sit outside and just get the au jus going down our forearms.
I'm into that.
Yeah, let's man it up.
I'm a standing outside diner. I like standing
really
more than sitting. Yeah.
I don't even understand why.
Like the seating thing, you can be there for a long time. I like this. Like the first time we went to Spain, to San Sebastian, which is like I didn't know this. It's like the place that like Anthony Bourdain, they have pinchos. They're like the bikes basically.
Right.
And so that entire culture is like, it's basically bar hopping, but with food. So everyone just stands wherever they go and they eat small amounts and you go lots of places. So it's like a playlist for food. You're like, well, I guess I'll just discover this other stuff. I'll just walk to the next place. It's great.
See, now what I was also going to say before I said Johnny's, I love going for sushi for a lot of the reasons you're describing. You don't lock yourself into one food for the night. You can keep trying different shit, and you don't like it, you keep moving on. I love that idea.
Good for the commitment averse diner. Yeah,
or just the really open-minded diner.
That's a better way.
I'm going to switch from this avocado roll. It's time for squid. It's time for eel. Bring it on. Let's try that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Put that on some seaweed. Let's make this a thing.
Yeah.
All right. So David McMillin of Fort Frances. If people want to hear both versions of If You Look Hard Enough, it's everywhere, right? Anywhere you stream music.
Everywhere you can listen to music. Yep.
And we can buy it on Bandcamp.
Yep. Yeah. Bandcamp's the way. Yeah. Bandcamp's the place to do it. Yeah.
What else can we get on your Bandcamp? I love sending people to Bandcamp.
I think you can get everything that we have on Bandcamp.
See, now here's the thing. If you're listening or watching, it may not be until fall when we can see Fort Frances. Now's your time to catch up. Here's your chance to binge Fort Frances before seeing them live.
I like that.
Thanks,
James.
Together?
Yeah.
Right.
You're a pro at this.
Sure. David, Fort Frances, I love your band. Thank you for coming back on the show.
James, I love your show. Thanks for having me on, man, as always.